Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Holly's Haunts here on Terra Salad. I'm your host, Sarah Van Buskirk, and I'm accompanied again by the lovely Holly Lindblom. Hello, Holly. How are you?
Hi.
We did a lot of Southern California coverage in these past couple episodes, so let's take it north and
Let's go.
go to the William Westerfield house in the Victorian era of
San Francisco.
Yeah.
And how, the Victorian era is still very prominent in the houses in San Francisco. You can see the painted ladies. You could see the Queen Anne's. You can see the mansard roofs. You can still see it there. You can visit it. The only reason why some of them aren't there is because of the great earthquake of 1906.
That's why I think it's really cool that they're still standing.
It is.
Historically.
Absolutely. And, if it wasn't for the fire department, because it wasn't the earthquake that took it down, it was the fires that occurred afterwards. Okay. And there was only one hydrant that in the end stood and helped put out the fires in San Francisco. So thank you, firefighters, for that. And, we're going to the William Westerfield house, built in 1889. And like I said, it survived the 1906 earthquake.
Mm-hmm.
This house has such a colorful history, dark. It was a hippie commune. It was also...
So the Tsar's Russians, they made the ground floor ballroom a nightclub called Dark Eyes.
Dark Eyes, yeah.
Like, what kind of music were they playing, you think?
Back then, it had to have just been creepy piano music.
Yeah.
Well, it wasn't creepy to them, but to us now, we consider it like creepy piano music. Yeah, and then it was the Russian embassy.
Yes. Nickname into that.
Mm-hmm.
Well, William Westerfield himself died there, and it kind of is the mystery of how that happened.
And he was a candy maker. So he was the William Wonka of then, right? I mean, he was. And he built this 28-room mansion for his family, and then passed away the house. And that's when they say kind of the disturbances started happening.
Yeah.
Because we always go back to people that love their homes so much, they tend to stick around to see who's taking over.
Yeah.
And the creepy part, and the part that sticks out the most is the Westerfield house was where Kenneth Anger and Anton LaVey from the Church of Satan,
Right.
they wrote
The Satanic Bible.
Yes.
Well, Anton LaVey, he is like the founder of the Satanic Church.
Yes, which is founded in San Francisco at the Black House, not too far from the William Westerfield house. And what's up with San Francisco? Yeah, you know what I mean? Yeah, Jesus. We were from there, sage and cleansing, but that's okay. Everybody to each his own. But they did shoot Kenneth Anger, The Invocation of My Demon Brother, there at Lucifer's Rising with Bobby Belosi. I hope I'm saying this right. You're not gonna, messing that up. Bobby Beausoleil starred in Lucifer Rising, who is a Manson family member who not too long after that went to Topanga Canyon and was in the murder of Gary Hinman and the cutting off of his ear, which led to not that long after the Manson murders, the infamous Sharon Tate murders. But he was living up there and he did the soundtrack from prison.
Like, he conducted music, produced the music in prison.
In prison.
Wow.
Over the phone, just like you're wearing a Red Hot Chili Pepper shirt, my girlfriend alone and desperate calling me from a prison phone. Yeah. Same thing with this, and recorded it. Probably, they say they do that, but how did he do that? He did. And it is very well known. It's also known that Anton LaVey had a tiger in the tower. The marks are still there to this day. That's actually
on the door.
Yeah, and that's actually on my Instagram page. I had just posted it the other day, and it shows how beautiful the William Westerfield house. Oh, and shout out to Paranormal Lounge for actually writing me and telling me after that Houdini was also there.
Yes, I have heard that, which we had talked about Houdini in his house, and just...
That's right.
And phenomenons that go behind him himself.
Right. And it's just a really creepy house. And to know that they were actually invoking demonic.
Right, there's like a pentagram that was on the top floor.
That's right. Etched into the floor.
Satanic rituals.
Satanic rituals. And even like Susan Atkins was photographed in one of Anton LaVey, the founding member of the Church of Satan, in pictures, topless. They were doing some really outrageous stuff in this home.
Yeah.
And I mean, wouldn't that open up a portal?
Oh, absolutely.
To something that they're sitting there and they're inviting it in. I mean, if you're going to invite these things in, they might just stick around.
Yeah.
The current owner even let Ghost Adventures come into the home and has documented saying that it is an eerie presence and there's something different. Kenneth Anger has gone on camera saying that the house is haunted. So, I mean, if enough people are talking about it, wouldn't that be enough to say the house is haunted?
Mm-hmm. So today, can you tour it?
No, it's a private residence, and he has a lot of videos out there that you can see. There's actually a really good drone footage of going through all the beautiful rooms, because back when William Westerfield had it, he did have it as themed rooms. That was a major thing in the 1800s.
Yeah.
And he had like a, at the top was a very, Japanese teak kind of style room, imported in and stuff, that he had that house so that he could look out onto the river so that he could see his stuff coming in. So he was very all about that, and just having a view of the city, which is amazing because oh wow, that house is beautiful up there.
So who is like William Westerfield? Do we know who?
German immigrant who was a candy maker.
And he just got a hold of the house, and then tragedy struck, and it continued to strike.
Yeah, pretty much. And then he passed in it. Then it was sold to the Russians. And then it was that hippie commune with, that whole thing about the hippie commune, that was like acid rock, and that's when Kenneth Anger came into it.
Has anything to do with like the ranch with the Manson family?
Well, Bobby Pelosi being there and being part of that afterwards. Yeah, absolutely. So there was ties into, now there's always been that tie about Manson going and getting his girls from the hippies in San Francisco.
Right.
If you're going to California, with flowers in your hair type of thing, that's huge. He went up there and preyed on these young people that left their houses in search of peace and love, which he was not anything about that. So, in the end, you hear about Manson that he let the dogs eat before the women on the ranch. He treated people really bad, especially the women. And he had them taking acid, and he had this power over them, which I think if you're taking any kind of psychedelic drug and then you become God to them, you're going to have some power over them.
Yeah, it feels like these cults are kind of attached to this house. Like it started with the satanic rituals and the connection with the Manson family.
Yes, and Bobby, being in the movie there, and Lucifer Rising, I'll tell you, I watched that alone, and that was really creepy. I felt uncomfortable, and I don't feel uncomfortable watching. I grew up in the Rotten.com era, where we would look up creepy stuff on the internet, but that just freaked me out for what it was to see that. Lucifer Rising. And then remember, we just listened to the soundtrack.
Yeah.
And some of it's eerie. Good. It's eerie, but it's pretty good. It's very 60s.
Yeah.
It's really cool, but
I would think it's really fun to find out too when movies are filmed in like especially scary movies are filmed in a alleged haunted place.
Absolutely. And one that they were doing Satanistic rituals in, where
big deal. It's not just any kind of haunting.
No, they're straight messing around with the devil himself. Demons, and asking them to come in. What is that about? Are they asking him to grant them wishes? Or, Anton LaVey, in the end, did denounce the Church of Satan and did want to be blessed in the end. If you look up his stuff, in the end, he was like, oh no, what did I do? And no disrespect to the Church, nothing like that. That's, you do your own, you do your thing, but Anton LaVey, they did demolish his black house in San Francisco, but his ties to the William Westerfield house will always be there with Kenneth Anger.
Yeah. You've never been around the area of the house?
No, I've taken pictures of the house of the William Westerfield house.
Have you feel anything? Did you?
No.
Didn't get it.
No, I didn't feel anything. I loved it. It was absolutely beautiful home. I walked all around it. I have pictures of it. I wish I could meet the owner and I go in and say hi and just love to see it. But no, but I did search out where the Black House was just to see where it was.
It's close by.
Yeah, it's not that far from there. Where it was.
Yeah.
So yeah, pretty much. So San Francisco is definitely haunted.
Yeah, it's like the entirety of the city, I'm sure.
Absolutely. And, you know,
Mission area, they're
right.
I'm sure.
Yeah, and then, I mean, you have the Golden Gate Bridge, which there's a very controversial movie called The Bridge, which they, for 1 year, filmed people going to commit suicide there. And they actually helped people get down off of the bridge and
They were filming.
while they were filming.
That's the one.
It saved
Really
people's
cool.
lives,
Yeah.
but they did catch a couple people.
Sure.
You know, and then there are people that have survived their jump off of the Golden Gate Bridge who talk now suicide survivors of that. But the Golden Gate Bridge is very haunted, and if you've ever been a part of it or on it, which I know you will go soon, it's just creepy. It's super creepy being up there.
They got like bordered like security knives
Everywhere it says just suicide messages. There is payphones. There is a whole barrier on both sides, just like our Pasadena suicide bridge.
Right.
But imagine this 100 times bigger
and into water.
with great white sharks.
Yeah.
Great white sharks, y'all. They live in San Francisco Bay. They are right there. So if you don't break all your bones on the way down, the sharks will get you. People survive it.
Yeah.
So, you know what I mean? The Golden Gate Bridge, and then you have, you know, the Columbarium, which is about, it's a crematorium. It's the Neptune Society. Harvey Milk, the mayor that was murdered, is there. There are caretakers that are, you know, that are seen there to this day.
And why was he murdered?
For being gay and for having, you know, his views. He was murdered for having his views, I believe, and it was like they wanted to get rid of him, but his stuff is there. A couple famous people, but he is the most famous in my opinion. I have visited him there. The Columbarium is absolutely beautiful. It's a rotunda. You go in there. That's haunted. You have the San Francisco Art Institute, which I have been. That's on my Instagram. That also is haunted by a janitor and by a woman that leapt from the top and committed suicide, and people see her. And out of all of them I've been to, the San Francisco Art Institute felt creepy to be there. And I just went around the front of it. But the tower itself, just looking up there, knowing what it is or what they still see, it is very creepy.
Do they have any like plaques in there that
I didn't see any because I didn't go in because there was a big red door and you can't go in there. But yeah, that's haunted up there. San Francisco Institute. The City Hall is haunted.
right? Dome.
The Big Dome is haunted. There's a lot of other different houses that are haunted in San Francisco. You know, Alcatraz.
Very true.
Alcatraz is haunted. The Birdman of Alcatraz. You have Al Capone's cell. You have literally escapees that were never found that tried to go and talk to their relatives, or they, you know, the relatives are always going to deny it. But they actually built their own raft and went into the rivers of the ocean, and some say they made it, some say they didn't. There's no evidence that they didn't make it.
Yeah.
From escaping Alcatraz.
That's a hard swim.
Yeah. Like I said, if the rough waters don't get you, the sharks will.
Well,
There was 3 of those men, and that's documented, you know, as escape from Alcatraz. So Alcatraz is haunted. You have that. There's also this like arcade. I forget the name of it. There's this like really creepy old 1920s laughing big lady in there that I have personally seen that is absolutely scary. You put a quarter in her and she just it's a game. It's really creepy. And there's all these like they're old like little marionettes that you put a quarter in, and it has like weird things like death and opium dens, stuff that just wouldn't fly today, but they're all in this one place. If any of the viewers are watching this, if you know the name of it, put that in, please. Oh, and please remember to like and subscribe to Terror Salad. Give us a like.
Absolutely.
Give us questions. We're totally
anything you want to see, we would love.
we'll discuss it. Yeah, we'll go out there and just let us know what you want to see, or if you have any questions on the bottom of any of these videos, and we will find out.
I want the feedback.
We want the feedback. We want to know, especially the name of that arcade too.
So another spot in San Francisco, near the peninsula, is the Moss Beach Distillery.
Yes.
When some researching this, I I've heard a couple different stories. They're all about the same, but they are just different versions. So
Yes.
it's about the lady in blue.
The Blue Lady.
What about that?
Yeah. The Blue Lady. Now, what I really find interesting about this is that Unsolved Mysteries was there, and Robert Stack was there. And if you are a kid, or even now, if you've watched Robert Stack, the music alone is creepy. Unsolved Mysteries was just our grandparents, our aunts, there's always the women in our family watching Unsolved Mysteries. I never seen the dudes turn it on. It was always the women just right there with Robert Stack's, But he went there and he filmed about the Blue Lady and how she was basically worked there and had an affair with the piano player. She
because her husband
had a husband who was a bootlegger.
Right.
Okay, and he was
Probably
a gangster.
Yeah.
Who knows? Yeah, who knows what he was into or what was going on.
And then love at first sight with this piano.
There was the music. So she loved him, and there was a confrontation on the beach with her, and the beautiful Blue Lady was stabbed by the husband.
Just he was mad.
He was pissed. So she was found dead on the beach, and they say that she haunts the distillery. Now, the Moss Beach Distillery has been set up it's been rigged.
Right. Electrical systems, things in the mirrors.
Things in the mirrors. There is actually, in the bar, there is a couple of the chandeliers, but they have those rigged up to move.
Sweet.
Every, 10, 15 minutes?
Right.
Something like that to show that.
And that's based on, like, people actually seeing the chandeliers move.
And the one that doesn't move is the one that they have seen.
Right.
Bartenders have reported glasses flying off the shelf.
Coasters flying.
There's a manager that actually has gone on record, and I've seen this many times in my research on YouTube, that he has said there was a lady, a very upset guest that was at the host stand. And anybody that's ever worked in the restaurant industry, don't verbally abuse the host. They gotta sit you, or your servers, but was going after, why can't I have a window seat? Why can't I be sat right now? And the clock came off of the wall and here
in the back,
at the back, like, hey, calm down.
And you're more respectful. Yeah, supposedly it's the Blue Lady who likes to play tricks on people.
She does. And she likes to move things in the office. She moves important paperwork. She moves checks. She has locked doors that they can't get in.
I think that story is crazy. I think it was more like a wine cellar situation, and they couldn't open the door. And then once they got it open, they saw wine boxes stacked against the door. No one inside, no crawl space to get out.
No.
So who did that?
The ghost.
Right.
The ghost did that.
Yeah.
And they could not get in there. And and then there are just so many people that have gone there. And that's like one of the things. A lot of people go there. It's a point of interest. It is a historic place.
Yeah.
It is
the
models. A bathtub, gin, bootleggers, racketeering. It was a place where people would bring the booze in from that port. People use that. I mean, there's probably so much going on right there. It's absolutely beautiful. Best view ever.
It was in 1927 when Frank Torres bought the place.
Frank's place.
Yeah, it was called Frank's. Yeah.
It was.
And after Prohibition, they transitioned to a seafood restaurant.
That's right.
And you've been.
I've gone.
Yeah.
I've been. But the food is delicious. As a server, I will say the service is good. The calamari is good. They will give you a beautiful thing to take home with the Blue Lady. The Blue Lady's on their menus. It's
so they play into it a little bit.
They completely play into it.
So when you were there, did you feel anything?
I didn't. I felt very at ease there. I felt great going down to the bathroom. I tried to look for the rigged things. Taps was there. And they acted like they didn't know that it was rigged. And they were like, oh yeah, they rigged this place. Well, it's known that it was rigged.
Yeah.
They were playing into this, right? When you walk in up into the left where the host stand is at, there's a Blue Lady showing. I mean, it's is haunted.
Right.
They're doing this on purpose, but it's fun. Why not? They also say that there is a woman ghost, not just the lady there, but that other one that you were mentioning, who watches after the children there,
right,
and will tell them like, "Hey, you shouldn't be playing up here alone." Cool.
She was crushed to death, like right on the side of the hill or like the ocean, stuff like that. So, yeah. She's probably watching out for them.
Which is great. Continue and, go to the Moss Beach Distillery. It's there. Keep them open. It is absolutely beautiful.
Even if it's a tourist attraction, go check it out.
The view alone of the sunset with the ocean is amazing and it's worth it. And I mean, the place is big. And then downstairs, which is really cool, is it shows all the stars that have been there and that have eaten there and have partaked in, having fun there. And then they have a whole wall of all the unsolved mysteries stuff, all the behind the scenes pictures and of the filming. So that's cool that they have that there on the wall for the episode that was filmed there with Robert Stack.
I think some famous names like Marilyn Monroe and James Dean, and then like a couple United States presidents.
Yes.
When it was the speakeasy, it was the spot.
It was.
Or the famous.
It was.
Yeah.
I mean, and it shows that downstairs by the bathroom. I have that on my Instagram. There's a picture of all the stars that have been there, and there has been a lot. It's well known and worthy to drive to.
Yeah. The forbidden love story.
The forbidden love story of the lady in blue who was murdered on the beach, unfortunately, and still haunts her favorite speakeasy.